Hi, in this video we're going to show how to go from a Mousetrap Car wheel where we have the rim and the hub to some kind of complete wheel where the hub is connected to the rim with some sort of spoke or special shape. Okay. So several options. I mean, some of the simplest things that you could do would be to just drag in a box, make it thin, make a copy that's rotated 90 degrees, etc. and make some connections here where of course you'd probably want to come back and ungroup this hub so that the axle hole cuts this out, etc. Okay, so we can go simple, or some other options are to get into the shapes area, and instead of just basic shapes, you might find some other basic shapes that you do like quite a lot. You can also get into shape generators. I'm going to click on all shape generators. There are page after page of shape generators. I think that the ones I'm looking for are closer to the back here. So people often like to use these arrow shapes as an interesting way to connect. There are also snowflakes that are popular, even something like this diamond, lots of options to choose from. Just a reminder, we're looking at a flat view or orthographic projection. That's why this looks flat. We don't want perspective view for doing this kind of alignment. So I could just sort of eyeball what I'm looking for here. Might be really helpful at this point to get this piece centered up with the grid. So I'm going to use my ruler tool, or R for ruler, and place a ruler right there at one of these major intersections where the centimeter grid intersects. Okay, notice that this option lets me toggle between using the midpoint of an object and using the end point. The object I'm interested in centering is this wheel itself, so I'm going to use midpoint. The green dimension, if I just move this around, you'll see what changes. The green dimension is the distance, so just dragging I was able to zero that out. I could also type 0 and 0 for those dimensions and have this perfectly centered. This is going to enable me probably to center up these arrows a little better, potentially. I see that's not snapping exactly to the line I'm interested in, so I can come down here to my snap grid and change this to 0.5 millimeter. Instead of 1 millimeter, I'm snapping to 0.5 millimeters. And this is lining up quite nicely. Okay. I've got the overlap I need at the hub. I probably don't want the point sticking through here. If I do, I can always make some kind of cutter shape. There seems to be just a little bit of overlap there, which is probably not an issue at all. I could use a cutter shape to trim that, or I could choose to just play it safe, keep that in a little further. Now I'm going to use the shortcut Alt, hold the Alt key and drag to make a copy. I can also Control C, Control V to make all of these copies. So I'll select one of these, and at least one's going to need to be rotated all the cardinal directions. So I'll need one rotated at 90, one rotated at 180 degrees, and one rotated, and I don't want to grab the one that I've already aligned, one would be rotated west, so to speak, at 270 degrees. There's also a shortcut here. Let's see if I just drag and rotate. How does this work? Well, you'll see it will snap automatically to some of those most common. So -90, which would be the same as 270. Now, because I'm using that 0.5 millimeter snap, things are lining up really well with these major axes. I know right there is where I see the point starting to protrude, so I could use an arrow key to back that up one. I can delete this ruler now. It's sort of creating some information that I don't really need that's kind of in the way. I think I want that here. Just backing up 1/2 millimeter from that point. Things look really good. Now, in maybe another video, we'll look at how to either move these up so that they're not in the way for 3D printing, or possibly even look at a way to slice off the bottom of that shape. So why don't I do that now, rather. Okay, with all of them selected, grabbing the black arrow here, I may prefer something like a side view so I can see where those shapes are no longer protruding below the work plane. If I'm concerned about this, I could always change my snap grid even smaller. It looks very minute, but it is the kind of thing that if it's not perfectly flat, just might interrupt with a 3D print. So I'm going to go as low as a 0.1 millimeter snap and just lift that up a little higher. Okay, I would be ready to select all, Control G for group. I think I have an issue here in the center that needs to be addressed. What I needed to do first, I suspect I had turned one of those arrows into a hole. Is that what happened there? Yes. Okay, so somewhere in there I took that one from being a solid, but I also noticed I need to Control Shift G or ungroup. Okay, I just need to group all of this with the hole here so that it will carve out the center as well. Control G for group. Okay, that piece is done. In a video to come, we'll talk about some challenges in 3D printing a piece like this and how we might choose to do things a little bit differently. But that's all for now.